Now, season 2 is not disappointing. It was amazing. But of course, it's not perfect. It has some issues, but it doesn't really ruin the main plot or story. There's sort of more nitpicks than everything else, but the rest is just sort of after plot twist reveals backstabbing and sort of endgame sort of plot that makes this season so great. Especially what happened at the very beginning with Ashley Harold and Serapis. Now, before I continue, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, if you like how it's going and like to help my channel, you can easily put like, comment, and subscribe. One of those things really does help my channel, especially how small I am. I mean, I only have 900 subscribers, but of course I'm getting close to my end goal to 1000. Thanks to all the new subscribers, so people comment and post like. Every little thing really does help. Of course, if you don't, that's fine too. Let's start the review of Blood of Zeus Season 2. Now, I said before, this season was a surprise. It has its flaws. One of the smallest flaws is sort of the pacing, not all the time. It's just sort of specific episodes. I feel it need to be a little bit rushed, but at the same time, it's fully understood and need to calm down the pacing because how much plot and story you really need to do, especially the very beginning with the two main leads. Harold and Seraphim, with both characters, oh, they need therapy because how messed up the sort of situations and all the information they get dumped to and they have to make decisions on top of this. They sort of kind of tortured, specifically Seraphim, because how screwed his life is. He thought he finally has peace on the underworld, of course, being tortured, but at least everything you have to do is done. At least that's how his plot thread comes into till he realized, oh no, you gotta serve another god, probably Hades. But Hades has a reason why he wants him and to use them for his own plot to actually take over all Greek gods. But interestingly enough, you kind of get Hades' point of view. You also understand all the other gods who have problems with the other person. But yet, it just sort of interesting because no one technically is wrong and everybody is sort of wrong, or at least wrong how to approach specific things. For example, Hades just want to get out of his sort of scenario because he feels he got screwed over. In fact, the original text of the Greek or mythology that he was never a complainer. He did his needs to do, he had to pick up the dead, but he never really was evil or anything. But at the same time, I like the approach they take with Hades, this version of Greek mythology. It's because he usually is neutral, but the reason is he decided not to be neutral. He was sort of feel he got cheated and tired. He tired his wife keep leaving him because sort of the deal what happened to his own wife and her own mother forces him to stay her only 6 months and the other 6 months the other day. But once more, you feel the pressure he has of his wife, his kids, and his own life being stuck in this sort of scenario, never changing. So he decides to take over. And that is just sort of interesting because he's trying to convince Seraphim to basically do his deeds before him because he understands his pain. He also understands his loved one is also in pain. If you scratch my back, I scratch yours. I let your girlfriend to be free and to basically go heaven onwards. But Seraphim is not a dumbass. He realized it's just repeating becoming a pawn once again of the gods. But I love that he sort of created sort of like a son-father relationship, trying to convince him, mold them to do things he asked him for a good reason. He understands. He doesn't really want to use him, but he sort of scenario of what happened to his wife, his kids, his mother-in-law nagging him and figuring out how to get out of this situation. You just get it. You get why he liked this. You get what decisions he make, the certain scenarios when happen in the moment. Especially if you have no king ruling all Greek gods, because it's all for one. Because everybody trying to take charge. Everybody has beef with each other. You don't know who will win, who's not, who is the right person to take charge. Then the other plot thread drops would be Harold, our second main lead of season 2. Harold was the son of Zeus, or at least half son, the bastard of Hunger's other kind of same position as Harold, but the only difference is he's sort of special because he has godly powers, but the only problem is he can't really enjoy his special powers or join the sort of kind of props being a half god because everybody's judging him to be a bastard. Even his half brothers doesn't like him. His half sisters, he trying to do something. They always trying to see him beneath them, and that sort of pisses him off. But on top of all this, he's sort of dealing with his own half brother did to him. That he kills his mother. How Zeus kind of draft them out of the forest, being hunted like wild animals. The guy has so much baggage to actually figure out. But I love it even interesting more. You also have a kind of like a plot thread extra that someone cut his own life on his lifeline. That the only people can do that is sort of the Pacific gods are trying to cut your line. They did not cut the line, someone else did. Someone who is not in charge to manipulate him to use him for some better reason. But the fates who are in charge on that don't know who cut the line. The only thing we do know is Harold has a limited time to do something. I mean, you have to figure it out. Do you have to basically clean this mess up, make things back to normal? But that's the problem. Do you want to be back to normal? Especially all the messed up things, what's going on, how everybody has beef with the other person, and each single person has a legitimate good reason why they don't like the other person. On top of this, some of them don't like the position they got stuck to because it feels they don't deserve it. To be fair, some do, but that's why I like this series. That sort of like you want to hate the guy or hate that specific person, but you can't because they're likable, relatable. At the same time, you get it. You get why they sort of stuck there. You get why I should follow the same organization if I still get the same punishment. Even that I am still a good person, or at least try to be a good person, but I can't be a good person. It's sort of hard to become an honest person in total. And this is sort of the biggest problem in right now in the plot story. That all the other characters trying to figure out who become the next in charge if this person is smart enough, wise enough to understand the scenario of the situation and keep things in order. But it makes things more interesting that Harold and Xenophon, they have to basically face off with each other. They have no choice. Even they sort of accidentally bumping each other, even that the other person knows the other one is there and doesn't realize because it's sort of disguised. But once more, you have to see the series what I'm actually talking about. But even that, both of them sort of understand they sort of need to fight, but at the same time, not really. Even that, you find out Harold could be the chosen half god who can restore all order, or is it Centerfreeze could be the one in charge, or both of them? Because how the myth of this story, possibly there will be a god who actually changed things, or one god who destroyed things, and you think both of them are the one who supposed to do that, and yet they don't want to. Yet they understand what the other one does that because they have almost very similar life problems. They deal the same way but different directions, and yet they have to fight. Even that Seraphim has justified why he needs to hurt the gods. That everything he says is completely true, even that you disagree with them, but because of this rage and anger, he keep punishing the wrong people or the right people, but he doesn't really have instead of focus to actually to punish the right person, and that make him sort of the wrong person to choose. At least that was sort of the idea. And Harry Freeze was the same thing, that you think he could be the right person also, but yet maybe not. And this is what make this series just so interesting, because you will change your opinion constantly with a specific different person. Like one of the big examples, Zeus, because Zeus in the original text or original Greek or Roman mythology, he is a fair semi-god. I mean, sort of semi-fair. He sort of abused his power, but at the same time, he also got punished because the regulation and the rules he set in his own basically territory. But this version really focused on that Zeus was a good god or not. And that's what they point out. He is very complicated because people have very strange opinions of him. Some people believe he's a good person, other people believe he's a horror person because both sides are completely right. Both sides see the best and worst of Zeus. At the same time, asking was the right person to be in charge all this time. And the surprising part, especially the judgment of Zeus of that specific episode, was shocking because I wasn't expecting how many people thought he was a good man, how many people was bad man, but at the same time, always wanted him to be punished. It almost felt he will not be punished because all the good deeds will actually be done. Worth actually saving Zeus of his own punishment or limiting his punishment because all the good deeds he actually done weighs over all the horrible things he has done. And that's just so interesting because I was sort of bipolar because I read the stories back in high school, the things this guy actually did. Yeah, I'm one of the people who always wanted to see him being punished and justified. And this series does that really detailed because you really get to know why Zeus, who he is, and what he does it. You disagree with them, but yet you kind of agree he was sort of the best choice of the rest of the gods. Each one of them has his own issues, even that everything will fall apart because of Zeus himself. Now, one of the greatest highlights of this season 2 is sort of the end game of season 2. The sort of battle royale grab the stone because this stone would actually change who would become the king or queen of all the gods. Especially everything set up by the Titans to make sure this was sort of fair, but because they all kinda what's the best way to call it? Sort of nasty people or very jaded people. They keep cheating around each other, backstabbing, poisoning, taking lies, changing alliances during the battle. It all became sort of American football, running, gaining a stone. In between everything, you have Harold and Seven Freeze sort of stuck in the middle, figuring out should we work together or not, take leads. That's the interesting part because this battle really shows why the Greek gods are just very petty, messed up type of gods that honestly they deserve all the punishment of the world because they do not accept forgiveness as the answer because that pettiness ruins them and ruins their sort of position of power. This is why I was sort of surprised what happened at the very end, that the person who was sort of charged creating everything to make this sort of test work to give the gods a lesson of being kind to each other says, you know what, screw this, you all deserve what you get. And they call of the original last Titan to end it all. And the series ends there. It's one of those, I was shocked. I was like, God damn, that's was surprised, especially with Hades, that how he stabbed Heracles. I know it's not Heracles, but you get the idea that he was trying to control everybody to understand their reasoning. He was in charge of that moment till Hades says, nah, he just stabbed him. But you understand Hades' point of view. Reset the order is almost nothing has changed. If just having that pettiness, that guilt, that frustration. In fact, I will probably do the same thing as Hades. Like, screw it. If I cannot have my wife, I cannot have my happiness, why bother continue what we have? And just risk it all. And that is honestly a true answer. Like, who would do the same thing as Hades? I have to admit, I will. Would you? You would do the same thing? Or you'd be like Heracles, you know what? Let's talk about it. Like, it's understandable you want to reestablish order. Doesn't mean you have to change or do change. You have to recognize you need to change some things. Just not just ask forgiveness. Just sort of kind of tilt the bench just enough to be almost satisfied. Like a good deal is everybody's still unsatisfied, but everybody got something they cannot really complain. You got something equally fair. But I love it even more. One of the best highlights, they actually show that when Zeus became god of kings of the Greeks, he cheated. And that's one of the biggest mind blowing of this season. That people allow him to cheat because they believe he was the right person. And that was shocking. Even that Zeus is a cheater, a liar, a manipulator, and all the power goes to his head. But yet, you get it? And that's the thing I enjoy so much this series. You get the characters, you get the motivation, you get why they sort of really messed up. You also get the answer that none of you deserve forgiveness because you will not give forgiveness. You don't understand because you just very pity, but that pittiness or that sort of angeriness is fully understandable. It's almost hard to walk away from this before things really got bad. And they did got really bad at the very end. But yet, I just fully was surprised. Of course, one thing that never was sort of clarified is the fact who caught Heracles, I know that his name, that he was sort of lifeline was cut. Who was it? Who was the one who cut the line? Honestly, I don't know. We wait for season 3 because season 3 that was confirmed is coming out. But hopefully they answer that plot thread next season. But the question is, which do you think who did it? Who initially started everything? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.